Hey, for showing the receipts after my mom called me ungrateful at dinner? My name is Isabella, I'm 27, and for the first time in my adult life, my apartment actually feels like it belongs to me. I have a real job now, the kind with a badge, a benefits packet, and a desk plant I somehow haven't killed yet. I live on my own in Columbus, Ohio, I pay my own bills, and until recently, I worked in operations at a logistics company where my calendar finally had more meetings than family emergencies. I thought that meant my parents had finally stopped seeing me as the backup parent for my younger siblings. I was wrong. The Sunday dinner where everything blew up started like every other family dinner at my parents' split-level house in suburban Ohio. Shoes piled by the front door. A soccer schedule taped crookedly to the mudroom wall. Costco rolls sweating in a plastic bag on the counter. My Aunt Denise trying to clear a space for her casserole between a stack of school flyers and a half-empty bottle of Sprite. My dad, Mark, sitting in the living room with the Browns game on low, like volume counted as participation. My mom, Linda, moving around the kitchen loudly enough that everyone could hear how much work she was doing. I had been back in that kitchen for maybe 4 minutes before my body tried to betray me. Maya's backpack was slumped against a chair, half-zipped, with a pink permission slip sticking out. My hand actually moved toward it before my brain caught up. I stopped myself with my fingers hovering in the air. That scared me more than my mother yelling ever had. Because for 15 years checking backpacks had been my job. So had packing lunches, answering school emails, scheduling dentist appointments, making sure Tyler had his inhaler before baseball practice, reminding Sophie to submit FAFSA forms, and knowing which brand of chicken nuggets Maya would eat without crying. None of that was ever announced as my job. Just became mine. When I was 12 it started small. Can you watch Sophie for 20 minutes? My mom would ask, already grabbing her purse. At the time Sophie was 4 and dramatic about socks. Tyler was a baby, round-faced and sticky, always reaching for anything that looked dangerous. Maya wasn't born yet. 20 minutes became an hour. An hour became, there's mac and cheese in the pantry. Then it became, make sure Sophie finishes her worksheet. Then, your dad is tired, don't make everything a fight. My mom had a way of making requests sound soft right up until you tried to say no. You're so mature for your age, she'd say, kissing the top of my head while pressing a baby bottle into my hand. I don't know what I'd do without you. My dad's version was shorter. Just help your mom out, he'd say. We all have to pitch in. By high school, pitching in meant I cooked dinner 3 nights a week, sometimes for if mom had a migraine or dad had a long day. It meant I signed reading logs in pencil because I knew I technically wasn't supposed to. It meant I stood in the elementary school pickup line with orange cones on one side and impatient parents honking behind me while a staff member with a walkie-talkie waved kids toward cars. It meant my phone buzzed during math class because Tyler forgot his lunch, then buzzed again because Sophie was crying in the nurse's office, then again because mom wanted me to grab milk from Kroger on the way home. My friends learned not to count on me. Are you actually coming this time? My friend Kayla asked me junior year before a Friday night football game. I'm trying, I said, which already meant no. That night Tyler had a fever, Sophie refused to do homework unless I sat next to her, and my mom texted me from the bedroom. Can you handle dinner? I'm wiped out. I heated frozen lasagna and told myself the game wasn't a big deal. Prom was worse. I bought a navy dress from a sale rack at Macy's and kept it in the garment bag for 3 weeks. I had the ticket tucked into my mirror. I remember curling one side of my hair when Tyler's coach called. Tyler had slipped at baseball practice and got hurt. My parents were both unreachable. My mom later said her phone had been on silent. My dad said he was dealing with work stress and couldn't leave. I drove to urgent care in half my makeup, stayed by his side to help him, signed paperwork I wasn't supposed to sign, and sat in a plastic chair while girls from my school posted pictures under string lights. When I got home my mom was in pajamas. Prom is one night, she said when I started crying in the bathroom. Your brother needed you. My dress stayed in the garment bag until I donated it 2 years later. The thing about growing up like that is nobody calls it stealing your childhood while it's happening. They call it helping. They call it being responsible. They call it family. I got good grades anyway, partly because school was the one place where nobody handed me a diaper bag. I got into a university 2 hours away with a small scholarship and a dorm option. I remember spreading the brochures across the kitchen table, trying to imagine a room with one bed, one desk, and nobody else's cleats under my chair. My mom cried. Sophie is at such a fragile age, she said. Tyler is struggling. Maya's still so little. You can go anywhere later. Right now your siblings need stability. My dad stood by the fridge, arms crossed under a calendar covered in dentist appointments, color-coded sports practices, and notes in my handwriting. Be practical, he said. Why pay for housing when there's a good school close by? So I chose the commuter campus near home. I deleted the housing email while sitting in the Kroger parking lot, with a trunk full of lunch meat, cereal, and pull-ups. Later became the word they used every time they wanted me to give up now. Later I could move out. Later I could travel. Later I could pick jobs based on what I wanted. Later I could stop being needed. I did eventually move into my own apartment, but only 20 minutes away, which meant nothing really changed. My parents still called for rides. The school still called me first because I answered. I attended one of Sophie's parent-teacher conferences on Zoom during a college class break, muting myself whenever my professor came close. I paid for Tyler's field trip once through Venmo because Mom couldn't get the portal to work. I bought Maya school supplies at Target at 9 p.m. because nobody read the email except me. At work, I became the person who left lunch early. My coworker Nora noticed first. She was 28, sharp, funny, and the only person who could make inventory reports sound like gossip. One Tuesday, I was shoving my salad back into the fridge because Maya's middle school had called about a forgotten instrument. Nora stared at me. You know most people don't get emergency calls from their sister's middle school, right? They call whoever answers, I said. Exactly, she said. That sentence stayed with me. A few months later, a regional operations manager position opened in Cleveland. Better pay, better benefits, relocation assistance, a real promotion with a team under me and a start date that wasn't theoretical. When the offer letter hit my inbox, I stared at the subject line so long my screen dimmed. Offer letter, operations manager. I reread the salary 3 times. Then I read the relocation packet. Then I called Nora before I called anyone else. I got it, I said. She screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Then I said, but Tyler is still in high school. And Maya. No, Nora said immediately. Do not make your first thought about who this inconveniences. That's literally the only way I know how to think. I know, she said softer. That's why I'm saying it. I accepted the job that afternoon. I told my parents that weekend in their kitchen, while my dad stood by the sink and my mom sorted mail she had no intention of actually dealing with. I got promoted, I said. It's in Cleveland. I'm moving in 6 weeks. For 1 second I let myself believe they might be proud. My mom's face went blank. Cleveland? Yes. What about Tyler and Maya? Not congratulations. Not what's the job. Not are you excited? What about Tyler and Maya? My dad rubbed his forehead like I had just handed him a bill. That timing is rough. Tyler's junior year is important. I know. You should wait at least until he graduates, he said. I looked at him, really looked at him. That's more than a year away. So, my mom said, family doesn't run on your corporate schedule. I'm not asking permission to move. My dad's jaw tightened. Don't take that tone. We're talking about your siblings. And they have 2 parents. The silence after that was so sharp I could hear the refrigerator humming. My mom blinked like I had slapped her. So you just decided this without thinking about us? I did think about you, I said. I just didn't make my decision for you. That was the moment the family machine turned on me. Our extended family group chat was called Family First, which should have been warning enough. 2 days after I told my parents, my mom posted, "Please pray for our family. Some people forget where they came from once life gets comfortable." Aunt Denise replied with 3 hearts. Uncle Ray wrote, "Family is everything." A cousin I barely talked to sent, "Hope everyone remembers who was there for them." Then Sophie texted me privately from college, "You're acting like you're too good for us now." I stared at that message while sitting on the edge of my bed, surrounded by laundry I had actually done only for myself. I typed, "You know that's not true." Then I deleted it. I typed, I helped you with every application you sent. Deleted that too. Finally I wrote, I love you. This job is good for me. She responded, you act like we ruined your life. That one hurt more than anything my mom said. Tyler stopped answering me except for one-word replies. Maya sent me short, anxious messages that felt like tiny hooks. But what if mom forgets pickup again? Who's taking me to the dentist? Do you still love us? I would sit with my phone in my hand and feel the old panic climb up my throat. The urge to fix it was physical. Like if I didn't answer fast enough, something bad would happen, and it would be my fault. My unsent reply to Maya was, then mom needs to remember. I never sent it. She was 14. She was scared. She wasn't the one who built the system. But I also didn't volunteer. Instead, I started packing. That's when I found the paper trail. It started with an old accordion folder I kept because I'm the kind of person who saves warranties and tax forms. Inside were school emails, printed because at some point my mom's old printer had been the only reliable thing in that house besides me. Emails from teachers started with, Hi Isabella. Just following up about Tyler's missing assignment. Hi Isabella. Can you confirm Maya's pickup plan? Hi Isabella. Thanks again for attending Sophie's conference. Not Linda. Not Mark. Isabella. I found calendar screenshots from high school with notes like Isabella. Maya dentist 3:30 and Tyler cleats before practice and Sophie project board due. I found Venmo receipts for lunch money and field trips. I found grocery receipts from Aldi and Walmart where I had bought sandwich bags, applesauce pouches, cereal, and the cheap coffee my dad liked, all in the same trip. I found a Target receipt from the night before Maya's 4th grade open house, when I bought markers, poster board, and a pack of socks because she had outgrown hers, and my mom said payday was Friday. Then I found the prom texts. Mom, can you get Tyler? Coach says he was injured. Me, I'm getting ready for prom. Mom, please don't make this harder. I already took my makeup off, and your father is exhausted. Me, what about urgent care? Mom, you know where the insurance card is. I sat on my bedroom floor with that phone in my hand, boxes open around me, and felt something inside me go very still. I wasn't digging for dirt. I was packing my life into boxes and realizing my childhood had left a paper trail. So I made a folder on my phone called Family Receipts. I backed it up twice. I didn't plan to humiliate anyone. I didn't want revenge. I wanted to move without spending the next year defending my right to have an address my parents didn't approve of. But I also decided something important. If they attacked me publicly, I would answer publicly with facts. Aunt Denise called 1 week before the Sunday dinner. Your mom is hurt, she said. Maybe you can delay things until everyone adjusts? I was standing in my apartment kitchen, eating toast over the sink because I had packed most of my plates. I have been adjusting since I was 12, I said. I am done making my life smaller so everyone else can stay comfortable. Denise sighed. I'm not saying what they did was perfect, but your mother feels blindsided. I was 12 when I got blindsided. She went quiet for a second. Then she said, Sunday dinner would be a good time to clear the air. I knew what that meant. It meant everyone expected me to apologize where everyone could see it. So I came prepared. Dinner was crowded. My parents' dining room was too small for all of us, so half the food sat on the kitchen counter, and people balanced paper plates on their knees. Uncle Ray took the good chair near the window. Aunt Denise kept glancing at me like she was trying to encourage peace by blinking hard enough. Sophie was home from college for the weekend and sat close to Mom. Tyler avoided eye contact. Maya stayed near the doorway, picking at a roll and watching everyone. For a while, people talked around the tension. Gas prices. A neighbor's new fence. Someone's kid making varsity. My dad said almost nothing. My mom laughed too loudly at things that weren't funny. Then she tapped her fork against her glass. It was so dramatic that Nora would have made fun of it for a month. I just want to say something, my mom began. My stomach dropped, but my hand stayed still in my lap. She looked around the table, making sure she had an audience. It has been a difficult season for our family. Mark and I have sacrificed so much for our children. And it's painful when one of them decides that a job and a paycheck matter more than the people who raised her. Nobody moved. My dad looked at his plate. My mom's eyes got shiny. After everything your father and I did for you, Isabella, this is how you repay us? By walking away when your brother and sister still need you. Sophie muttered. You don't have to act like you're better than us. Tyler, still not looking at me, said, You said you'd always be there. That one hit hard. Because I had said that. I had said it to a crying little boy whose parents forgot his school concert. I had said it because he needed comfort, and because I didn't know I was making a promise my parents would cash for years. I took one breath. Then another. Are we telling the whole story? I asked. Or just the version where I sound cruel? My mom's face hardened. Don't you dare twist this. I'm not twisting anything. I set my phone on the table. But if you're going to accuse me in front of everyone, I'm going to answer in front of everyone. Uncle Ray shifted in his chair. Maybe this isn't the time. It became the time when Mom made a speech, I said. My voice was calm. That surprised even me. I opened the folder. March 18th, junior year, I said. I missed prom because Tyler needed medical attention at practice. Mom said she had already taken her makeup off. Dad said he couldn't leave work. Here's the text telling me not to make it harder. My mom reached for the phone. I moved it out of her reach without looking at her. I still have the ticket, I said. It's folded in one of my old journals. Tyler's head came up. I kept going. October 7th, sophomore year of college. Sophie's parent-teacher conference. Mom didn't go. Dad didn't go. I joined the Zoom during my class break. Here's the email from Mrs. Alvarez thanking me for being the only one who followed up. Sophie's face changed slightly. February 12th. Maya's dentist appointment. Calendar says Isabella. Maya dentist 3:30. Mom texted me to use my card for the copay because she forgot her wallet. Here's the receipt. My dad cleared his throat. Every family makes sacrifices. Yes, I said, looking at him. But sacrifice isn't supposed to be assigned to one child for 15 years. He sat back like I had pushed him. I scrolled again. Here are 3 school attendance emails where you were copied, Dad. And didn't respond. Here's the nurse asking me whether Tyler had taken his inhaler because the office knew I answered fastest. Here's Mom asking me to leave work early because Maya forgot her instrument. Here's me paying Tyler's field trip fee. Here's me buying Sophie's dorm supplies. Here's a grocery receipt from Kroger with lunch supplies for all 3 kids when I was 19 and making barely above minimum wage. My mom let out a sharp laugh. She liked helping. Isabella has always liked being needed. That was the first time I felt anger rise hot enough to scare me. I pressed my palm flat against the table. No, I said. I liked being useful because it was the only way this family treated me like I mattered. The room went quiet. Aunt Denise stared at my mom. Linda, why was Isabella doing parent-teacher conferences? My mom's tears started then. They always did when a conversation got too close to her responsibility. Wow, she said, voice shaking. I cannot believe you would embarrass us like this. You embarrassed yourselves, I said. I brought dates. My dad finally looked at me directly. We put food on the table. And I cooked it, I said. Packed it. Served it. Cleaned it. Then you called that parenting. Uncle Ray looked down at his paper plate like it had become fascinating. My mom snapped. You're being cruel. I'm being accurate. Don't punish the kids because you're mad at us, my dad said. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm moving for a job. I'm 27. I love my siblings. I am not their parent. Maya started crying quietly near the doorway. That almost broke me. I wanted to get up, put my arms around her and promise I would still fix everything. Instead I said gently, Maya, I love you. This isn't your fault. My mom jumped on that. Then how can you leave her? I turned back to my mother. Because loving her doesn't make me responsible for doing your job. I stood up. My chair scraped the floor. Nobody stopped me. On the porch, Sophie followed me out. The porch light buzzed above us, and the cracked driveway looked exactly the same as it had when I used to drag trash cans to the curb before school. Sophie wrapped her arms around herself. So you kept records just to use against them? No, I said. I kept records because those records were my life. She looked away. You really are leaving? Yes. What about us? The old answer was right there. I'll figure it out. I'll come back on weekends. I'll still handle forms. I'll still answer every call. I didn't say any of it. I love you, I said. But I am not your parent. She wiped at her face, angry about crying. You could have told me it was that bad. I tried sophomore. You were a kid. And Mom made sure it sounded like complaining. She didn't apologize. Not then. I drove home shaking, but I didn't turn around. Moving day came exactly when it was supposed to. A small moving truck parked outside my apartment building. Nora showed up in leggings, sunglasses, and the kind of determination usually reserved for court cases. Point me at the boxes, she said. My phone lit up all morning. Mom, Maya has pickup Thursday. You need to tell me the system. Dad, this is getting out of hand. Call your mother. Mom, you are hurting this family. Sophie, Mom is crying again. Maya, are you mad at me? That one I answered privately. Never. I love you. I'm not mad at you. Then I sent one message to family first. I am not available for rides, childcare, school forms, bills, or last-minute emergencies caused by lack of planning. I hope you figure out a system that does not rely on me. Then I blocked the group chat. I didn't block my siblings completely, but I muted them except for direct messages. I blocked my parents for 2 weeks because every message from them felt like a hand reaching through my phone to drag me back. The first night in Cleveland, I ate cereal for dinner on the floor because my table hadn't been delivered. My apartment smelled like cardboard and lemon cleaning spray. There were no backpacks by the door. No permission slips on the counter. No one asking where their other cleat was. I cried for 20 minutes. Then I slept for 9 hours. The consequences at home were not dramatic in a movie way. Nobody faced legal trouble. Nobody confessed. My parents did not suddenly become different people. What happened was smaller and honestly more satisfying. They had to parent. They forgot Maya at pickup once and had to pay a late fee. The school called my mom, then my dad, then my mom again. When they tried calling me, my number was no longer listed as the fastest option because I had emailed the office and asked them to remove me from routine contact. Linda hired a sitter for 2 afternoons and complained to Aunt Denise that the rate was basically robbery. Denise called me later sounding tired. I didn't understand how much they were putting on you, she said. Nobody wanted to understand while I was still doing it. She was quiet for a moment. You're right. I'm sorry. It was the first real apology I got from an adult in my family. My dad had to leave work for Tyler's school meeting after ignoring 2 emails from the guidance counselor. He told my mom it was ridiculous that the school expected daytime availability. My mom apparently said, Isabella used to handle those. Aunt Denise told me that part later, then added, Your father didn't like when I asked why that sounded normal to either of them. Relatives changed slowly. Some stayed quiet because admitting the truth meant admitting they had watched it happen. Uncle Ray never apologized, but he stopped posting family loyalty quotes in the chat. A cousin messaged me. I had no idea. I didn't answer because I didn't have the energy to comfort people for not noticing. Sophie's apology came in pieces. First, defensive. I didn't know it was that bad, okay? Then a week later. Mom always made it sound like you wanted to help. Then finally, after I didn't rescue her from her own discomfort. I'm sorry I said you acted better than us. I think I was mad because if you weren't the problem, then Mom was. That one I answered. Thank you. I know this is hard to look at. But Tyler was the real crack in the wall. About a month after I moved, he went looking for some school document in the basement. My mom had shoved a bunch of my old stuff into a plastic storage bin years ago. Old notebooks, school programs, photos, folders, journals with stickers on the covers and gel pen writing that faded in places. He told me later he knew he shouldn't have read them. He said he opened one because a folded prom ticket fell out. The entries weren't written for revenge. They were written by a teenage girl who didn't have anywhere else to put the truth. I told everyone I didn't care about prom, but I did. I cared so much I couldn't breathe. Mom said Sophie needs me close. Dad said it's only a few more years. It's always a few more years. I don't hate Tyler. I hate that I know his dentist, teacher, cleat size, and inhaler schedule better than Dad does. I love them, but I wish someone loved me enough to let me be a kid. Tyler confronted my parents that night. He wasn't polished about it. He was 16, angry, guilty, and probably scared. He asked, "Did Isabella really miss prom because of me?" My mom said, "She's exaggerating. Those journals are old. Teenagers are dramatic." Tyler said, "She was 16. My dad said, "Your sister liked helping. She was always responsible." Tyler asked, "Then why did teachers email her instead of you?" Neither of them had a good answer. My mom apparently tried to make him feel guilty for questioning her. "So now you're turning on me too?" Tyler said, "No, Mom. I think she wanted you to help." He texted me the next morning. "I found your old journals. I know I shouldn't have read them. I'm sorry. I didn't know you missed all that because of us." I stared at the message for a long time. My first feeling was anger. Those journals were private. They held the ugliest, loneliest parts of me, the parts that never made it into family pictures because I was usually the one taking them. My second feeling was relief, so sudden it made me dizzy. He didn't ask for a ride. He didn't ask me to call Mom. He didn't ask me to come home and fix the new tension in the house. He just said he was sorry. It took me almost 5 hours to respond. "You were a kid. That part wasn't your fault. But I need you to understand I'm done being responsible for everyone." He replied, "I get it now. Or I'm trying to." A few months later, Tyler came to visit me in Cleveland. Aunt Denise drove him halfway, and Nora picked him up from a coffee shop near the highway because I refused to get pulled into coordinating with my parents. That boundary felt petty for about 5 seconds, then it felt necessary. He showed up taller than I remembered, holding one of my old journals in both hands like it was fragile. "I brought this back," he said. "Thanks." We stood in my doorway awkwardly. He looked past me into my apartment, at the small couch, the thrifted coffee table, the desk plant still alive by some miracle. "It's quiet," he said. "Yeah." He swallowed. "I thought you were leaving us. I didn't get that you were leaving the job they gave you." My throat tightened. "I was never supposed to have that job," I said. He nodded, staring at the journal. "I didn't know you were a kid too." That sentence did something to me. Not because it fixed everything. It didn't. It couldn't give me prom back or dorm life or the version of myself who might have learned sooner that love didn't have to be earned by exhaustion. But it was the first time one of the kids looked at me and saw the kid I had been. I let him in. We ordered pizza, and he told me school was weird because Dad had missed another email, and Mom was mad that the coach expected parents to organize rides. He started to say, "Can you maybe?" Then stopped himself. I raised an eyebrow. He laughed once, embarrassed. "Never mind. I'll figure it out." "Good." Maya adjusted more slowly. She still texted me things like, "Mom forgot picture day money," and at first I would have to sit on my hands not to Venmo her immediately. Instead I'd write, "Tell Mom and Dad tonight." Then I'd add, "I love you. Send me the picture when you get it." Eventually her messages changed. "Look at this dog I saw. My science teacher is weird. Do you think purple nails are too much for 8th grade graduation?" That felt like getting a sister back instead of being assigned another dependent. Sophie and I are still careful. She apologized in person over coffee during winter break. "It was not perfect," she said. "I was jealous because Mom cried more about you leaving than she ever did about me going to school." Then she winced and added, "That came out wrong." "No," I said. "It came out honest." She admitted she had liked being able to call me when she was overwhelmed because I always answered. She also admitted she had resented me for acting tired, because if I was tired, then maybe what I did for her wasn't just what sisters did. "I didn't want to owe you that much," she said. "You don't owe me your life," I told her. "But I need you to stop pretending mine was easy." She nodded. "I can do that." My parents are still angry. My mom sends messages through relatives sometimes, mostly about how hard things are now and how I've changed. My dad left one voicemail saying I had made my point, and it was time to come back around. I deleted it. The truth is I have changed. I don't answer calls during work unless I choose to. I don't attend school meetings for children I did not give birth to. I don't pay copays because another adult forgot a wallet. I don't let the word family turn into a leash. My apartment still feels new to me in small ways. I buy groceries and realize nobody else's lunchbox is my responsibility. I wake up on Saturdays and the day is mine unless I decide to share it. My phone can buzz without my stomach dropping. Sometimes I miss the chaos. Not the burden but the kids inside it. Maya asleep on my shoulder during a movie. Tyler grinning with a missing front tooth after his first baseball hit. Sophie sitting on my bed, asking if her eyeliner looked stupid before freshman orientation. I loved them then. I love them now. But love was never supposed to require disappearing. Leaving did not destroy my family. It exposed what my parents had built on my back. They had called it loyalty because loyalty sounded better than labor. They had called me mature because mature sounded better than used. They had called it helping because helping sounded better than parenting. Now when someone says, "That's what family does," I don't hear a command. I hear a choice. And for the first time in my life I get to make one. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.